Hello CFS, happy Sunday, May 24th. We're going to do 3 Tabatas today. Tabata was invented by Dr. Tabata, and what he was doing was trying to figure out how to get the USA speed skating team more efficient at using oxygen, or their VO2 max. And so he tried all different types of ratios of work rest, and he found that 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest for 4 minutes yielded the best results. So if you ever do a Tabata and you're like, wow, these really suck, why do they suck so badly? That's the idea. So the idea is to push the limits of your cardiovascular system. You can do them like people do, like push-up Tabatas. You can do that, but ideally it's meant for things that raise your heart rate. So anything that raises your heart rate, which is what we're gonna do today, and pushes that limit. So that's what I want you to keep in mind today when you're doing this is, man, this sucks, but it's only for 4 minutes, and then you can kind of rest a huge chunk before you do another one. And it's only 4 minutes. We're doing 3 of them today, but typically they're not done, for an hour. Okay, so durability, we are gonna do bear crawls and squatting, single arm reach forward fold. You can do these, whichever one you want to start with first. I'll do the forward fold first. So you're gonna do a forward fold, and then I'm gonna go into my squat and reach up with one arm. As I reach up with the arm, I'm pushing the other knee away to get a nice stretch, and then you can go back into that forward fold and then go back into your squat. So you're just kind of playing with these two. I know that we do this in the warm-up, but I myself have been totally neglecting my warm-up, so I'm sort of putting into the durability. And then bear crawl. We're gonna do straight leg. So I want you to stay in sort of a down dog position. If you're unsure what that is, it's plank. So without moving my legs closer, I'm going to end up walking with my left hand and then my right foot. So if you've never done this, you're just going to take a step with one hand and then move your opposite foot. The idea is to keep your knees straight with this one. And what I don't want you to do is walk your feet too close into your hands. So take little steps with your hands, stay in that distance. That's the fault that people do, is they come too close or they walk their feet really wide. So if your feet are here and you're walking in that down dog position, bear crawl, try not to let your feet go too wide, sort of a cheat. And then legs staying straight. So you want to keep your hips really high. It's going to be a huge stretch on your hamstrings and a lot of stability for the shoulders as you're walking on them. So it's a really good activation for the body. And if you're tired, it'll wake you right up. Okay, so bear crawl versus squats, you're gonna do three rounds of that. So a 6-minute EMOM, all right? So every minute for 6 minutes if you're using that smart WOD timer. Then we're gonna do our skills, which we haven't done in a while. We're gonna just practice the moves for the workout. So you probably you'll do this on your own before a while. You kind of look at it and think, oh, I need to practice these moves. Well, I'm going to just program it in for you so you don't have to think about it. So again, you're going to do a EMOM every minute for 6 minutes. So you're just going to go through one time. You could potentially do this twice. So if you wanted to do a 12-minute EMOM and just practice everything, if you're someone that struggles with coordination, that's not a bad idea. Okay, so you're going to do a sit-out for a minute. So in tabletop, I'm going to take one leg underneath me and the opposite hand comes up, which kind of makes sense because it needs to get out of the way. And then I'm going to stick that leg out. I'm going to come back to tabletop. I'm going to do the other side. If you fell, that's okay. You can just get back up and keep going, okay? With this one, I want you to try to go as close to perpendicular as possible. This foot is going to want to go out here. Make sure that it's going, left and right as you're facing north and south here. And you can also pull this other arm back, which just makes it look sort of pretty. But it might just look like this. It doesn't have to go all the way out here. That's up to you and your shoulder. Some of you that have done Sunday class with me, if you wanted to do a little jump, you can. You can always add your own flavor to stuff. So that's your sit-out. Again, you're going to practice it in the skill portion for a minute, and then in the actual Tabata, you're going to pair it with something else. We'll talk about that. So 180. I'm going to actually do a little more surfer for this 180. So I'm going to sort of touch my front foot here. And when I spin around on my imaginary surfboard, I'm just continually touching whatever foot is in front. That way I don't have to fully spin around. I also get super dizzy. So if I'm facing this way and then facing that way, it's going to make me so nauseous. So I like to just face one direction and then just turn at my body. The other thing that happens is you look at my body, I get to move a little bit differently. So because we're not load bearing, you could always move the spine a little bit more. So I like those. So those are your 180 jumps, straight jabs, okay? I'm gonna stand with my feet nice and wide so I'm stable. Knees are slightly bent. My palms are facing me, so I'm sort of protecting my face. And then just gonna go out left and right, okay? So again, just practicing that rotation. So my elbows are in tight. All right, we're not really boxing here, but it's nice to do things properly. So my elbows are in tight, and then I'm turning my palm so my arm is rotating, right? My old boxing coach used to say, protect the ribs, so elbows are in tight. And then as you start to pick up the pace, it's gonna look like this. So full force, full speed is gonna look like that, right? And again, full boxing, so I'm gonna keep a nice neutral wrist. You know, it's not facing any weird way. It's nice and solid. And those are your straight jabs, right? So just left and right. Again, my body is shifting a little bit. And we're not gonna stand sideways and do our jabs that way. We're just gonna stand straight on with that one, okay? Again, for the Tabata, when you get to actual WOD, the first Tabata, you're gonna alternate between those two. So I'll do a sit out for 20 seconds, then I'll rest for 10 seconds, basically just getting up to the jump squat, the 180. And then the second Tabata, I'm gonna be doing those straight jabs, alternating with this frogger burpee. So I'm gonna go jumping into plank, jumping back up, hands off the floor. So it might look just like that, okay? You might jump shallow, so you might not jump all the way to plank, and you might jump up before your hands even get there. But that is what that's gonna look like. So you got 20 seconds of that with your straight jabs, okay? Again, you'll practice each thing for a minute, but in the actual Tabata, you'll be alternating between those two for 4 minutes. Okay. Uppercuts and fast feet. So uppercuts are gonna look like this, all right? So what I'm doing is I'm hitting somebody in the chin that's in front of me. So if you're boxing somebody, their face is gonna be about this distance away from you. So I'm gonna imagine hitting them right here, okay? As I'm doing this, you can put your other hand up there if you need to hit something, or true boxing, you can keep it really close to you. But I want you to focus on the lower body here. So the upper body, it might just look like this, all right? But if you are struggling with coordination, we're gonna keep it just like that. But if you can, we're gonna pivot that back foot. So again, for that skill port, when you're in it for that minute, I just want you to practice pivoting that back foot. And then for the actual WOD, it's gonna look more like that, all right? You're gonna feel a lot in here. So pivoting, I wanna make sure that that foot really turns all the way around. In the skill portion, when you're there for that minute, turn around and look at your foot, make sure it's actually turning. I can't tell you how many times I'm telling somebody to pivot and they're like, I am. And then they look at their foot and it's not turned. So pay attention to what's happening with your lower body and the backside. Okay, and then fast feet with a burpee. So sometimes I call this like a football run, but it's just really quick feet. My feet are wide. I like to have my hands out because I like to pretend like I'm actually playing football. And then there's nobody there to like yell, like drop, but you just have to do it on your own for that 20 seconds. So drop. Okay, so for the 1 minute part, you're just gonna practice that coordination, practice that fast feet, make sure it feels okay. And then for the Tabata, 2 to 5 burpees per 20 seconds. So when you're in that interval, you're gonna do 2 to 5 burpees with those fast feet. Again, nobody's there yelling drop. I used to do this when I would coach. So just pretend I'm there yelling at you. Okay, so that should make sense. Again, you're gonna alternate for 4 minutes, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds rest, switch the movement, work for 20 seconds, go back to that first movement, do it for 20 seconds, go back to the next one, 20 seconds. If you use the SmartWOD timer, it's really a no-brainer. It does the work for you for the timing, which is nice. In between, I put 1 to 2 minutes of rest to reset your timer, get some water, but you could potentially rest more if you wanted to. And that should be good. Okay, subscribe to the CFS YouTube if you want to get notifications when new videos are posted. And I'll see you guys on Sugar WOD.